What's cracking, y'all? You are now watching Boo TV. Appreciate you for stopping in. Like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell, stay notified, and let's get into the topic for today. So it appears Stephen A. Smith has a particular opinion or some choice words in disagreement with Allen Iverson, stating in an interview with Rachel Nichols that he believed Kobe Bryant was the second greatest player of all time after Michael Jordan. Coincidentally, I agree with Allen Iverson. I have Kobe Bryant number 2. I have Michael Jordan number 1. Michael Jordan is not my favorite player of all time. Kobe Bryant is my favorite player of all time. I know people that have Kobe outside of the top 10. I know people that have Kobe outside of the top 15, which I think is blasphemous, but hey, it's their opinion. Whatever. I strongly disagree with it. Vehemently disagree with it. Now, I have not watched the Stephen A. interview yet. Or not Stephen A. interview, but what Stephen A. has had to say about this on his show, his podcast. But if you haven't seen the Allen Iverson interview with Rachel Nichols, I'll play it right now so you can see exactly what Allen Iverson had to say. Then we'll get into the Stephen A. Smith bit, and then I will give my opinion on what Stephen A. had to say after he's all done there. All right, let's get into it.
Quote, when I checked into my hotel room later that night and saw the 35, he said, I lost it. I flipped the table, threw the chairs, broke the TV. There's more. He said, I obsessively read every article and book I could find about AI, watched every game he had played going back to high school. He said he studied shark attack videos to think about angles that he could approach you at because you move so fast, and he thought that might help you. I mean, when you hear that, he broke a TV in his hotel room because he saw you had a good game and he didn't.
I don't know, I just look at that as, yeah, that's Kobe Bryant.
Yeah, but he said you were the one. He didn't say I was obsessed with everyone in the league.
But
he didn't say I watched everyone else's game back till high school. He said it was you.
With Kobe, he was so different to where it was like, Phil, I want the assignment. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Take Fisher off him, I want the assignment. Mm-hmm. I've never seen nobody as competitive like him, but Mike, that's it. Like when people talk about, you know, your favorite players and the best players in the world, you know, I say Mike and I say Kobe. You know what I mean? And then everybody else.
LeBron's after that for you?
Definitely.
Okay.
Definitely after that.
There's the Allen Iverson bit. Share your opinion on what you think Allen Iverson had to say in the comment section. I agree with AI 100%. I could go on for hours saying why I think, you know, that's the lineup for me. And I don't have LeBron number 3 all time. I got Larry Bird 3rd all time. So Bron ain't even in my top 3. All right? Let's see what Stephen A. had to say.
So anyway, it's time to move on because there's a couple of other things I want to get to before I get to your tweets as well. There are a few NBA players that I hold in higher regard than my boy, Hall of Famer Allen Iverson. I've said this on many occasions. He actually gets mad at me when I say this, but it's true. I wouldn't be where I am today if it were not for him. When you are in this business that I'm in, it helps to have somebody to talk about. And as nightmarish as he made my vacations on far too many occasions, because he always got his ass in trouble when I was on vacation. It was never when I was working. When I was working, he played basketball and there would just be stuff that happened in the locker room or something. But every single incident that he's gotten into off the court is when I was on vacation. I mean, he was just famous for it. It was just automatic. I couldn't catch a break. I always mess with him for that because he always messed with me on my vacations. But everybody knows that he's like my little brother. I love him to death. And, you know, that don't mean we always agree. Just like I said about my man, Ryan Clark. And Allen Iverson opened his mouth and, dare I say, said something that was blasphemous. Blasphemous.
Blasphemous.
He was being interviewed by my former colleague at ESPN, Rachel Nichols, who I wish nothing but the best for, by the way, in her future endeavors. And he recently gave his thoughts on who he believes to be the greatest players in NBA history. Michael Jordan was number one. No problem there. Totally agree with him. I get it. Allen Iverson, does he have LeBron James number two? No.
Should he?
Does he have Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, a 19-time All-Star, 6-time champion, a 6-time MVP? Does he have him as number two? No.
Should he?
Who does Allen Iverson have as number two all time in NBA history? It's Kobe Bryant. Ladies and gentlemen, Kobe and I did not have the kind of relationship that Allen Iverson and I have. It was pretty damn close. For a media member, if you knew some of the conversations that Kobe Bryant and I shared with one another, you'd realize we were friends. That was my man. I miss him every day. I love him to death. And I'm so sad every time his name comes up because I'm reminded of the fact that he's gone. Gone but never forgotten. But Kobe Bryant is not the second greatest player in NBA history. That's just not true. It's just not. It's just not. And the points per game didn't equal LeBron's. The assists didn't equal LeBron's. The rebounds didn't equal LeBron's. The durability didn't equal LeBron's. He's got more rings, but we can't ignore the fact that the first three came with Shaq in his prime.
Are we going?
Meeting the most dominant force of our era, and next to Wilt Chamberlain, one of the top two most dominant figures in the history of basketball. That dude, the 7'1", 350-pound diesel. Okay? The big Aristotle. That dude. All of that. That dude, Shaq. Three of Kobe's rings came with Shaq. Now, Shaq didn't win without him. Shaq didn't win with Penny Hardaway and Nick Anderson and Dennis Scott and those brothers. He didn't win the title with them. He didn't win when he initially arrived in L.A. and it was Eddie Jones and those brothers. It took Kobe. I get it. I get it. And Kobe, on a mission to prove his worth, wanting Shaq gone and wanting the reins handed over to him by the late, great Dr. Jerry Buss, took the bull by the horn, was given a garbage team, led the league in scoring, ultimately won a league MVP award, and oh, by the way, in the process of doing all of that, went to 3 consecutive NBA finals and went back-to-back titles in 09 and 10. Beating Orlando with Dwight Howard and then ultimately Boston with KG, Ray Allen, Perk, Rondo, Paul Pierce. The truth shall make you free. Not set you free, make you free. That's truth. I know who Kobe is. I know who Kobe was. I know what Kobe meant and will forever mean to the game of basketball. And top 10 all time, no doubt about it, but he ain't top 2. Come on, y'all. Kobe Bryant was second place to Michael Jordan. He tried like crazy to be MJ, to ultimately beat MJ, but couldn't do it. MJ had 6 rings, he had 5.
I'm just going to pause right there. So, if Kobe had 7 rings, he still wouldn't be greater than MJ. So, for me,
I know it's one more than LeBron. LeBron didn't have Shaq as a teammate. Kyrie and Kevin Love, okay. D-Wade, Bosh, Ray Allen, okay. But you have to also look at the totality. Kobe was a menace. He was a killer, like AI said. That's why AI gave him that love, because that assassin's mentality. That's what AI loved so much. That's what he kept alluding to. That's what he brought up when he spoke about his support for Kobe Bryant as the number 2 player of all time, because that's what Iverson relates to. You know why? Because Iverson was a killer. Wasn't scared of anybody. I mean, if there is a class that Allen Iverson could give, I got news for you. It is not just in crossover dribbling. It's in courage. This brother was scared of nothing. Land of giants, he was coming for you. That was AI. And his quote during the sit down with Rachel Nichols, he says, I've never seen anybody as competitive as him, as in Kobe, but Mike. You know, when people talk about the best players in the world, I say Mike, and then I say Kobe, and then everybody else. Because Iverson is talking about that killer instinct. And I get where Iverson's coming from. You know why? Ladies and gentlemen, can I ask y'all a rhetorical question? What if Kevin Durant had Iverson's killer instincts? Do you think he would only have 2 titles? I don't. Kevin Durant, first of all, he would have won either. Well, we can't say the 3-peat because that was the Achilles, because he would have won 3-peat anyway. They'd have swept the Toronto Raptors and Kawhi, and they took him out 4 games if Kevin Durant had never gotten hurt. But let's take out those 2 titles. I'm telling you right now, Kevin Durant would have at least 4 titles if he had Iverson's killer instincts. If the Kevin Durant we saw in that game 5 where he dropped 49 against Milwaukee when Kyrie Irving went down about 3 years ago in the postseason, if that Kevin Durant showed up on a night in, night out basis, they'd have more titles. That's right, I said it. It's the truth. I'm not throwing any shade on Kevin Durant because he's one of the great ones. Mad love and respect for him. I'm simply talking about not so much a desire to do things the right way, but a desire to kill, to annihilate, to destroy. That's Kevin Durant. That's the Kevin Durant I know and love. That dude right there, if he was that person on a night in, night out basis, if he had Allen Iverson's demeanor about scoring the basketball, because Kevin Durant could do it in his sleep, imagine what he would be. That's why I say stuff like that. I understand exactly where Iverson's coming from, but he's not right when he says Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bryant could defend. Kobe Bryant could play point. Kobe Bryant could do it all. But his signature was scoring and being an assassin. And oh, by the way, as much as he could shoot, wasn't a better 3-point shooter than LeBron. If you look at the totality of LeBron's career. Didn't go to 10 NBA finals. Wasn't the complete overall package on both sides of the ball that LeBron James is as a playmaker, not just a scorer. Kobe could do it, but it wasn't his MO. You cannot put him number 2 over LeBron. You cannot put him number 2 over Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. You just can't. Now, after that, bottom line is this. Here's the bottom line. Kobe was number 2 to MJ as a 2 guard. And he might be number 2 as a Laker to Irvin Magic Johnson, depending on who you ask. Because here's the difference. Let's say Shaq was with Magic. Magic and Shaq would not have had that on-court relationship that Kobe and Shaq ended up having. Shaq would have wanted to stay, and Magic would have wanted him to stay. And they'd have made it work. Leadership's a part of it. Now, Kobe evolved into being a great leader because he was big on accountability. But let's pump the brakes now. When we call him number 2 all time. Can't give him that. I just can't.
Got the Kobe Bryant hoodie on right now. Rest in peace, Bean Bryant. I could probably go on dismantling Stephen A. Smith and his take for 3 hours with straight facts and straight context. But I don't have that kind of time. But I will get this off my chest. Now, first off, I'm not sure where Stephen A. Smith was going with the whole Kevin Durant thing and, the killer mentality. Anyway, the whole KD thing, I've been saying that for years. I wish KD was wired like Kobe Bryant. I've said it countless of times on this channel. I wish he had the mentality of a Michael Jordan, a Kobe Bryant, because KD would be a far greater player than what he has shown to be. But he is not wired like that. Anyway, I don't know exactly why he really brought that up. It didn't seem to be a strong supporting argument against Iverson's take. So I was like, okay, where are you going with this? And to me, it didn't really go anywhere for arguing against Allen Iverson's take. But Stephen A. Smith, or as Kwame Brown likes to say, Stephen A. Bitch. I think that's what he calls him. Everything I'm about to say, I have said countless of times on this channel. And you can go on my Kobe Bryant playlist and go through all the content, and you can verify that I've been saying this stuff. I do not want to hear a damn thing about how Kobe Bryant had Shaq. Many people have Kareem and Magic ahead of Shaq and Kobe. Yet, nobody ever says, but Kareem had Magic, or Magic had Kareem. And many don't even say, but Shaq had Kobe. It seems to be Kobe is the only guy getting hit with the, but he had stigma attached to him. If you are telling me that both Kareem and Magic are better than these guys, then your but he had argument should be used against Magic and Kareem, not the other way around, since both Magic and Kareem are superior to Shaq and Kobe in your logic. Please, am I going crazy? Make it make sense. Please. Kareem and Magic had each other for 5 titles. Kareem got his first title with Oscar Robertson. What are we talking about? Next thing I want to talk about is that Stephen A. Smith brought up the super teams, right? He talked about, Kobe had Shaq, and then he brought up the LeBron super team, because that's a point people shoot back at him. But he very lightly brushed over it. You might as well say he didn't even brush over it. He just mentioned who LeBron James had. Brushed over super teams LeBron James constructed, but did not elaborate on them or add any context. You bum. Of course, Stephen A. Smith, of course you did not want to talk about them, because you know what the deal is, baby. LeBron James fell short of expectations, being favorited to meet Kobe in 2 of those finals. He should have met him in 2009 and he should have met him in 2010. And he did not meet Kobe there, while Kobe took out the Eastern Conference trash for him. After Kobe's second championship, or his 5th championship rather, second with Pau Gasol, Dwayne Wade gets on the phone with LeBron, says, yo, Kobe got 5 rings. We need to join forces. You, LeBron, being the 2nd best player in the league, in my opinion, but many would say, and mainstream media would say, that LeBron James was the number 1 player in the league. Well, that just helps my argument. Y'all said he was the best. Dwayne Wade being the 3rd best player in the league at the time. And then they're going to go ahead and add a top 10 to top 15 player and Chris Bosh to try to run the deck on the league and completely remove the competitive balance in their already weak Eastern Conference? Dwayne Wade, who already had a championship and a finals MVP, had to get in LeBron James's ear, had to get in LeBron James's head to tell him that he needed to lead, that we need you to lead this team to a championship. Could you imagine somebody telling Kobe Bryant that? Kobe Bryant, when he was out there wanting to lead well beyond when his skill set allowed him to as a rookie? That Kobe Bryant? You have to get in his ear to get him ready for a game and tell him to lead a team? That Kobe Bryant? LeBron James had a big three with two top 3 players, including himself, and an all-star top 10 and top 15 of Chris Bosh. And they still only won 2 out of 4 championships. The beautiful thing about having the big three of superstar, all-star talent is that you can lose any one of those guys, or they can have a bad game, and the other two will carry the load. The other two will carry the load, no problem. It's a regular day for them. If Bosh is out, LeBron still has Wade. If Wade is out, LeBron still has Bosh. Get this. If Shaq goes out, and he did go out, Kobe had a bunch of role players. No third all-star / superstar to fall back on. Kobe had Derek Fishers, Rick Foxes, Robert Ory's, Ron Harper's, Slava Medvedinko's, Brian Shaw's. When I mean role players, outside Derek Fisher, all these other guys were literally old age role players. And he would still carry them in the most difficult conference in the last 25 to 30 years, that Western Conference. Kobe Bryant has more victories in the playoffs against 50-plus win teams than anyone in the entire history of the NBA. And that includes all the wasted years he didn't even make the playoffs after he tore his Achilles. He could have had more. That Western Conference, where you could miss the playoffs with 50 wins during some of those years, now you can make the playoffs through a play-in tournament with 30 wins? Brother. Where you can have 50 wins, a great season, and play the San Antonio Spurs the first round. Legit title contending teams several rounds before you even get to the finals. Please. I do not want to hear about LeBron James's finals appearances when he is feasting on 30 and 40 win teams regularly in the playoffs. I've put out a video breaking down how many 30, 40, and 50 win playoff teams LeBron James played against. All those finals appearances, and he still has less championships after constructing 3 teams with 3 high-end all-star superstar caliber players on each one. Eventually, not all of them came right away. Please. Miss me with that. Please miss me with that. Stephen A. Why you didn't say all that? Why you didn't say all that, Stephen A? Keep it a buck, baby. Keep it 100. Any player in the history of this league, any swing player, any wing player, would have had to be second fiddle to Shaq during that slow era of basketball, that defensive era of basketball, and the Phil Jackson triangle offense with Shaquille O'Neal. It wasn't about who was more skilled or better. It was about how Shaq made the triangle function with his dominance. People leave out the fact that after the first chip, it was Kobe Bryant that really carried the Lakers to the finals through that tough Western Conference, through all those rounds for the second and third chip. If he didn't carry them, then it was cooperatively led. Then it was cooperative. Oh, golly, I can't talk. Then it was a cooperative effort. Let's just say that. Depending on how you want to break up the stats, obviously Shaq's going to have more rebounds. Obviously, Kobe's going to have more. However you want to look at it. Either way, I watched those games, and I'm here to tell you, Kobe Bryant led them to victory a lot of those series in the Western Conference for that second and third championship, on the second, third championship runs. Everybody just want to talk about the finals, but don't want to talk about the road to the finals. And you're taking away from anybody in that Western Conference that worked their way through that gauntlet when you don't bring that up. Kobe Bryant was not carried. You can talk to me about stats all day long. And I will tell you that LeBron James should be averaging more rebounds, Stephen A. You clown. He's a 6'8" behemoth. It's actually sad that LeBron James isn't averaging more rebounds since he's supposed to be so big, so strong, so athletic. We've never seen anything like him before. And he has played a good length of his career playing against smaller opponents with all the small ball going around, especially right now. And y'all saying he playing center, guarding centers. We know damn well he ain't guarding no centers. They put him in a center position when there's a small ball lineup out. Come on, man. Stop it. His rebounding should actually be better. LeBron James' rebounding should actually be counted against him, considering everything I just said about the league he's playing in. Hell, come on, man. Larry Joe Bird, the great Larry Bird, had only an inch or two on LeBron James, technically listed at 6'9". And Larry Bird wasn't nearly the athlete that LeBron James is. And Larry Bird averaged 10 rebounds per game on his career for an entire career. 10 rebounds per game. Playing, battling against true bigs in the paint. True 7-footers in the paint. Battling those guys for rebounds in a much more physical league. You want to talk about rebounding? Had Kobe Bryant played more healthy years when the game started becoming more three-ball dominant and three-ball centric, I can assure you, you wouldn't be sitting here saying LeBron James is a better three-point shooter. LeBron isn't a better shooter. Anything that requires shooting mechanics, LeBron James doesn't compare to Kobe Bryant anywhere on the floor. Give a damn about your numbers, because all that stuff is inflated now. And they're getting up enough shots to make the percentages work in their favor. They have opportunities to catch fire and get hot. Before Kobe Bryant and LeBron James' careers overlapped, Kobe Bryant had played more years in the NBA where you weren't getting up as many threes. You shoot 1 or 2 a game. You miss 1 or 2, which is very common. Well, you're not getting any more. That goes against your percentages. 0% for the game. Against your averages. You're done for the day. Outside of totals and accumulated stats, post Achilles tendon tear, broken knee, broken shoulder, all those years hurt Kobe Bryant's averages. Those last handful of years, because he was a shell of himself. So like I said, it was good for counting numbers, but it hurt his averages. But it is what it is. It's part of the game. I'm just letting you know that is how it went down for him. LeBron James has always been the system. LeBron holds the ball. If LeBron can't get the shot, he fishes for the assist. It is how he has always played and will always be how he plays. LeBron James, his priority right now isn't winning championships because that ship has sailed. He's obsessed with the GOAT debate. And all he is banking on now is numbers, counting numbers and averages to aid him in his fight against the media created Michael Jordan versus LeBron James debate. Because in my opinion, those aren't the only two that should be in that conversation when we talk about debating who's the greatest player of all time. Even though I think Mike is number one, there's other players that can be input into that conversation. But anyway, Going back to how LeBron James played, Kobe could do that. I've seen Kobe do that on occasion, and he did it at times. But he didn't like to play that way. And while under Phil, he was playing in a system that doesn't even have a point guard. You always say, why doesn't Phil Jackson like point guards? Because he runs a triangle offense. You don't need a point guard. There's not going to be one guy distributing the ball. In fact, Kobe's during the Shaq era, Kobe's responsibility in the triangle offense usually contributed to Kobe being the hockey assist guy, not the direct assist guy. At times, Phil Jackson would let him have fun and get off a bit, but generally Kobe was chastised for trying to be his full potential. And they like to keep Kobe on a short leash. They like to keep him caged up and bottled up. He could have exploded 100 more times than we actually seen him explode. We probably would have saw this guy catch 81 points back in 2001, 2002. And it's one reason why Kobe Bryant was often frustrated, because he wanted to win and win championships, but he wanted to be the undisputed leader. He wanted to win on his terms, and he wanted to take on the challenge. He wanted to win chips while also crossing things off his personal bucket list. He shied away from nobody, no team, and loved competition. Think about this. Here we have the guy, Kobe Bryant, you say, was carried by Shaquille O'Neal. And this guy, Kobe Bryant, wanted more than anything to eventually leave this dominant figure in Shaq to be the guy and win championships as the guy come hell or high water and take on all the competition without Shaquille O'Neal. But y'all give him no credit for that, as opposed to LeBron, who runs away from the challenge and looks to stack the deck. And you give him all the credit in the world. Make it make sense. Had Kobe Bryant stayed with Shaq longer, y'all would have never gave Kobe Bryant his credit. And he still left and won 2 more championships, and people still don't give him credit for that. See, people now like to make Pau Gasol seem like he was a top 5 or top 10 player at the time, just to diminish Kobe Bryant's run. But when you don't need to mention Pau Gasol to use against Kobe Bryant, y'all never bring up Pau Gasol. His name is never mentioned. Well, because he was not a top 5, top 10 player during that run. And I love Pau Gasol. And I know we don't win those 2 championships without Pau Gasol. But y'all need to understand how Kobe made Pau Gasol so much better. And it had nothing to do with numbers and assists and how much better Pau Gasol looked on paper. It had nothing to do with that. It had to do with mentality and willpower. Kobe Bryant always said, how do I instill my DNA into my teammates? It has nothing to do with numbers, statistics, and box scores. Kobe won 2 rings without a top 75 player. Yep, Pau Gasol is not a top 75 player. Y'all voted, not me. See, y'all, I could go on much longer. I got so many more points I can say. I really do. But I got to start getting ready for bed. I got to go to work in the morning. But let me say this before I leave. Don't be confused with Stephen A. Smith, y'all. Don't be tricked. Don't be confused. Stephen A. Smith is very much a LeBron guy, which is fine. There's no problem with LeBron guys. But Stephen A. Smith is borderline Bron Goblin. That's a term that I coined. I came up with on this channel. If you start hearing other people say it on other people's videos or on other people's videos or in the comment section, I coined that phrase, Bron Goblin, right here, Blue TV. That's me. Yeah, he's borderline a Bron Goblin. See, we only ever see him debate LeBron James versus Michael Jordan. So in that scenario, you're going to see Stephen A. Smith take up sword and shield for Michael Jordan any and all day against LeBron James. But the minute you bring up Kobe Bryant, here comes Stephen A. Smith with the LeBron James cap. Selective words, selective memory, all that starts to come in. He's very much a LeBron James guy. Don't get it confused. He just won't argue for LeBron James against Michael Jordan. Y'all let me know what you think about it in the comment section. Am I out of pocket? I don't know. I could be. I'm trying to be unbiased. Everything I said was facts. You can't say I made up a single thing in that whole rant because I didn't. Appreciate y'all for stopping in. Check out the Michael Jordan playlist. Check out the Kobe Bryant playlist. Check out the LeBron James playlist, where I debunk more of this stuff that Stephen A. Smith spit out. And I catch you guys on the next one. Thanks for sticking around for this one. Appreciate y'all. Much love. We out, baby.